The ruff is probably the item of clothing that is associated most with Elizabethan England. It is the white collar that was fashionable with men, women and children in all but the lowest social classes, from the late Tudor era to the reigns of the Stuarts, approximately the 1560s to the 1630s. Ruffs began as an extension of a man's shirt. As the frilly add-ons grew larger and extended further, ruffs were transitioned into a separate accessory piece. They were adopted by women in the early 1560s. A ruff was made of yards of fabric, a mixture of linen and lace. The earliest ruffs were crafted around the wearer's neck using pleats in figure 8 shapes and pinned using bone, wood, steel or ivory pins. It could be time consuming, and by the time it was finished, I'm sure the wearer would have a bit of a stiff neck. In England, the amount of fabric that went into a Tudor ruff varied, with the earliest cartwheel or fan-shaped ruffs using about 6 yards of fabric. When Lady Cobham wrote to Bess of Hardwicke in 1564, she remarked on a garment she was making, indicating how fashion had changed and that 10 yards is enough for ruffs of the neck and hands. Ruff collars in Spain were made incorporating 42 yards of linen. As the 16th century progressed, more and more lace and linen was necessary as ruffs became larger. During the 1580s, 18 yards of material were used with supporting wire, decorative edging and elaborate ornamentation. The way a ruff affected posture was also part of their significance. While wearing a ruff, men and women had no choice but to keep their heads up, demonstrating confidence and pride. It was quickly discovered that adding a starch paste to a freshly washed ruff caused it to stand tall. With the addition of starch, ruffs got bigger and more elaborate. Wires and other supports were still used, even boards that were hidden behind large folds. Ruffs were fragile, and the materials used to construct them could fall apart due to hot weather, rain, or even body heat. Because ruffs were increasingly made using the most delicate lace and other materials, weighed down by more and more adornments, this too caused them to lose shape. Queen Elizabeth wore ruffs, enjoyed ruffs, and essentially determined ruff trends. In addition to banning blue ruffs, the monarch also legislated the size of ruffs worn in her kingdom, tasking the Lord Mayor of London with reforming others from wearing monstrous ruffs and other disorders. On the whole, however, this law was generally ignored in the interest of displaying wealth, garnering attention, and carrying position within political and social circles. So they would carry on wearing huge ruffs and pay the fine given. For 16th century Protestants, ruffs represented excess. Philip Stubbs published a pamphlet that mentions the evils of ruffs. They have great and monstrous ruffs made of some of the finest cloth that can be got for money, whereof some be 1/4 of a yard deep, yea, some even more, so that they stand a full 1/4 of a yard and more, dangling over the shoulders, instead of a veil, the devil as he in the fullness of his malice first invented these great ruffs. To wear an open ruff with a bodice that enhanced one's cleavage would have been an ideal presentation of the Tudor woman. Preparing a ruff could take hours, and making sure it kept its shape was important. Once pleats were folded, ironed and pinned, a wire or poking stick was needed to set the curved shape. After that, starch was applied, usually more than one coat. Waiting for a ruff to dry between layers required patience, and when all was ready, any misshapen parts could be adjusted with wax. Ruffs worn by men and women alike underwent a significant change during the early 17th century with the development of the falling ruff. Pleats were attached to the neckline of a garment and allowed to hang over one's shoulders. Falling ruffs were not uncommon for men, but around 1615 they became extremely popular with women. And this concludes the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please click the like button, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe for future videos. Thank you.